tonight. Megan Glover joins us live from Cajun Field with a preview of the matchup. Megan.
A big night here at Cajun Field. UL returns after a lengthy break to host Appalachian State. Not only are the Cajuns fighting to continue a win streak after their week 1 loss to Texas, but also last year was the first time in program history that the Cajuns got the dub over the Mountaineers. Cajuns head coach Billy Napier gives a lot of praise to App State. He says they're coming in with a dangerous offense. The Mountaineers are also 4-1 on the season, averaging 35 points per game. Napier says in their long list of duties coming into the matchup, nearing the tops of that list will be the pass rush. App State has a transfer quarterback in Chase Bryce who's thrown for over 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns. UL's defense understands that if they affect Bryce up front, they could force the Mountaineers to become one-dimensional.
Whether that's win individual matchups on the edge, whether that's push the pocket, whether that's tipping balls, whether that's playing really good coverage and making the guy hold the ball, pressuring and, making sure that those pressures are well designed and they land. There's a laundry list of things when it comes to affecting the quarterback.
Going back to the Cajuns trailing 8-1 in this series, defensive back Percy Butler says that he wants App State and anyone else to know that last year's win was not a fluke. He says they're going to remain humble, but at the same time show everyone very soon who will be running the conference. Sports Director Seth Lewis and myself will have more on tonight's game in our 6 o'clock show. But for now, reporting from Cajun Field, Megan Glover, KCC Sports.
There's no bigger matchup in the Sun Belt than Louisiana and App State. If you don't believe me, ask ESPN. This is their 5th consecutive meeting broadcasted on national TV. And for more on this star-studded matchup, we're joined by Seth Lewis and Megan Glover, who are standing by at Cajun Field. Guys, take it away.
Good evening, Jamarcus. Yeah, this annual showdown between Louisiana and App State is starting to feel like a rivalry, Megan. These two teams have faced off 6 times in only the last 4 years.
That's true, Seth, but for it to be a true rivalry, both teams have to win. And App State has dominated that is until last season.
Absolutely, that's right. UL finally turning that mountain into a molehill with their 24-21 victory in Boone last season. The Cajuns gaining 246 yards on the ground in that contest, and they will need a similar recipe to win this game. Louisiana at times this year has struggled to establish a run, only ranking 5th in the Sun Belt. But no matter if it's the ground game or the 1-8 record versus the Mountaineers, it all serves as motivation tonight.
Well, I feel like we have a chip on our shoulder every week because people seem to disrespect us every week, trying to say little things to get under our skin. Just for instance, like saying we can't run the ball, and that's what we pride ourselves on. We pride ourselves on being able to run the ball. So I know me personally, I carry a chip on my shoulder every week.
Now, Louisiana is coming off a 225-yard performance against South Alabama, so the run game is certainly trending upward for the Cajuns. Now, Megan, what are you paying attention for in this matchup?
I think what myself and a lot of people are paying attention to is the health of this team coming in. Like I mentioned before, they're coming off of a lengthy break. The last game was just 10 days ago on October 2nd, and on the road at South Alabama, like you just mentioned. But before that game, we learned about some season-ending injuries, including offensive lineman Carlos Rubio and kicker Kenneth Almendarez, among other key players. So those other injuries, of course, call for other guys to step up. And that's something that Napier said he's been impressed with is the selflessness of this team. Defensive back Percy Butler says that that break was much needed for those guys who may have been bruised or nicked up in their return.
I feel like we coming back to the game basically fresh. Like all our guys are shook back. Nobody got nicks and bruises. And so I feel like that was big because we're going to be able to adjust to everything that they do because we went over everything.
Remove your hands. Join the private Acadiana in the
Now, something of note, Seth, is that the Cajuns do not play Coastal Carolina this year, so that's going to be pretty big, but the dominoes would have to fall in their favor for them. And, you know, this game tonight could be home field advantage for them in the Sun Belt Championship game in December.
Well, we'll see. There's so much on the line tonight. I can't wait for it. Kickoff is at 6:30. You still have a few minutes to get over to Cajun Field. But for now, for Megan Glover, I'm Seth Lewis. Back to you, Jamar.